When you talk about playing, right, going back to playing or not matching our socks, or like there's a playfulness about it that resonates with my soul. And so much of my programming as an adult is so layered to repress that. And then it also becomes how we parent. But if we can unlayer that as parents for ourselves first, then we get to just do what you did with your son. You really were just so present in the moment. And that is what is making parenting so fun for you. Like you don't parent by the rule book. And
No.
you just have a ball with your son because you do that. Meaning that you don't parent by the rule book and you just parent from that playful place inside of you.
Yeah. There's a reason for that too. What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become the best possible versions of themselves and to strive for overall health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, all of the healths, without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who've been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time somebody shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Hey, Melanie.
Hey, Katie.
That was for you listeners. We just pretended that we haven't already been talking for 6 minutes. And yeah. So, Melanie,
Yes, my love. So before we go, before you can just edit this out, I just want to know how you're doing.
I'm good. Today's been a day, but I'm good.
Do you want to talk
Um,
about it or?
I mean, I can vent a little bit. It's just been one of those days where I feel completely behind on everything. And it started because the other night my son, he called me in his room. I still have a monitor, even though he's 6.5, just so we can communicate. Mommy, I can't go to sleep without you. I'm like, okay, I'll go to sleep with you. So he goes to sleep. I go back in my room and I love laying with him. I'm not complaining about that. So I go back in my room and he calls me again. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to turn off my alarm and just stay the rest of the night in his room. Forgot to turn my alarm back on last night. So I got up an hour late today, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I was already behind on posting today's episode of the podcast. And then I just felt like behind. And then the last episode I recorded, I talked with Ingo today, right before you. And during the episode, my dad came down to make lunch, even though I told him I'd be recording, and he turned on the microwave and he turned on the water. And I'm like, I'm sorry about all the background noise. He's like, I can't hear anything. But I was so distracted. I feel like I took away from his experience. So, all right, vent over. But what I do know,
I'm dying to go into some coaching right now, but I will
oh,
refrain. Can I just if you're okay with it, if you're open to it, can I just share a couple of my thoughts?
yeah, absolutely.
Um, Again, like to me, I think that's such, first of all, just noticing and being aware of what was going on in your body and how you were experiencing it. I'd be so curious to know if you asked Ingo, like, did I take away from your experience, what his response would be.
Probably no.
Right. So it's like that
Um,
what you the word you said was, I feel like I took away from his experience.
yeah. I know that's coming from me, especially since he said he couldn't even hear the background noise.
Right. But
So,
you still feel like energetically, this is what I heard, this is what I'm understanding. You feel
mhm,
like your own, like you feel like that somehow, I don't know, like so I'd be curious about that in terms of that being your feeling. And then the other thing is this languaging of, I'm behind, I'm behind, I'm behind, I'm behind. And what I'm wondering is, what if everything is just in divine timing and your body was actually smarter than you for what you needed to be more productive?
Yeah. I think it's interesting you say that now that I'm actually caught up because I caught up on everything on my break between you and Ingo. But I just had a thought and I lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, were
Um
you, when you say you caught up on everything, were you like really focused and productive and
I was focused on catching up.
okay?
Yeah. So
And what,
typically I cue the next day's episode the night before so that it's already done and I don't have to think about it the next day. Um Eventually I want to go back to having 2 weeks in advance already ready to go. So in case something happens, it's already done.
okay. And
And
do you release an episode daily?
no, 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 every Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yes.
got behind on editing that because my husband, he was supposed to have surgery next Monday. They bumped it up to this Tuesday. And so, like, I'm, family first. So my focus was on him. And then yesterday I went, oh shit, I forgot to finish editing my podcast for today. So, yeah, it's just been a week. But what I do know is that I'm in control of one thing, and that is keeping moving forward.
Yeah. And so to me, what I'm hearing is you're in control of that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And my invitation to you is that, sometimes to think about it this way, right? Like sometimes to keep moving forward, we actually need to slow down. We actually need to rest. We actually need to stop. Sometimes for me, I've had to backslide.
Yeah.
And really, like, that's all part of the process to move forward. Like, I think even that is the way we've been trained and programmed to think and believe. And like this morning, uh when I was talking to Alicia, and she said, you know she said now she just has to do it, like that, like she has this idea about doing card readings and da da da. And I said, actually, first you have to have the thought, then you have to like formulate how you were going to do it and put it into like the words and figure all of that out. And then you step into the action mode. However, that's part of the doing.
Yeah.
Just formulating that thought is part of the doing, but we don't, unless we see like a tangible result,
Mm-hmm.
we discount that that's part of the doing, that's part of the action, that's part of the step forward. Sometimes just preparing to step forward is part of the stepping forward,
Yeah.
or the intention or the desire or the choice. You have to make that first, and then it's in alignment with what that soul desire is.
Yeah. I could
Good stuff.
definitely one cool thing about today or my week or whatever, however long I've been in this, I'm behind, is like I can see how much I've grown because in my past this would just destroy me and I would just quit for the whole week. And what I kept telling myself on my way to take my son to school is just it's okay if you post your episode later in the day than at midnight. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. It would even be okay if I posted it tomorrow. It's okay. Who's going to know?
And
So,
what if somebody did know and then they were like, oh, she's human, I also get to be human?
exactly. Yeah. That.
That part right
That.
there. And what you're modeling for your son by framing this for you is how you will now be more conscious of also how you're parenting and where
Hmm.
you're placing importance.
Yes. So glad I'm recording this.
Yes, this is good stuff.
Yeah, I'm halfway tempted to leave it in.
I think we absolutely should. I think this is the
Heck
stuff.
yeah.
This is the stuff, baby. This is the
Yeah.
stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're ever wondering exactly what I do, this is it.
Yep.
Only she's doing it to me. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, Melanie Soloway is a coach, as you just um, witnessed. We go way back to April 2023. And if you follow me on social media, you've seen her face before on Facebook and Instagram. She forced me to do my first live
She
and
forced her. Did you hear that?
forced me to
She
do it.
forced her. I
Yeah,
tied her down. I said,
she
see
did.
or else.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? They're not as scary as I thought they would be.
Wow.
Ah,
So
so thank
proud
you
of
for
you,
that.
baby. So proud of you. And now you can turn it on and off anytime you want at will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even I was a viewer of one of Alicia's lives
Yeah.
and she went, "Hey Katie, want to go live with me?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, she
I
told me.
yeah,
She
I just
told me
couldn't figure
because
out how to join it. And I'm like, "What do I do?"
yeah, yeah. She told me in that afternoon. I'm like, cool, let's go live too. She's like, Katie and I just went live. I'm like, cool, let us go live. I was on the phone
Nice.
with her and she was out for a walk and she inspired me to go for a walk. So I went for a walk and I was like, yeah, let's go live. And I had to figure out the same thing, which was like, yeah, but then it becomes, and I think that's really, really important, Kate. Like for me, you know, I joined a program last year and the requirement was inside of our private Facebook group. The requirement for the class was that we go live on a regular
Mm,
basis, like in these 5 minute increments. And it must have taken me 3 days. I mean, I did my hair, I put on makeup, I figured out my bed. I was like, and I literally, like, my heart was palpitating. I'm pretty sure, if I'm recollecting, that I was probably sweating, and if not in my face, certainly under my arm. Like, I was like, my body was, I was terrified. And because of my, you know, um, because technology has wasn't my friend for a really long time, and now I absolutely love it, but I'm still trying to catch up with my love of it. I'm trying to catch up with the skills, which are, like, it's
yeah.
frustrating. Anyway, that's a whole other topic which we won't go to. But it took me 3 days. I did my live, and it took me a while, and then it was just through that practicing, and really, I think so many people say, be fearless, like, do this and be fearless. And I think you and I discussed that. And what I've really learned, is that it's not about getting rid of the fear, it's just to fear less. But
Yeah.
the only way that I can fear less is by doing it with my fear. It's by allowing courage to take the driver's seat over the fear, to
Yes.
recognize the fear is there, to allow the fear to be there, but just sort of say, all right, babe, like, you get to sit in the passenger seat today. Today, courage is taking the driver's seat. I mean, even just saying that, I have to tell you, like, my body can feel that,
Yeah.
because that just, even that concept feels scary to me. But, and now I've gotten to the point where, like, I've kicked fear on certain things, like the fear's gone into the back seat, and then fear's even gone into the trunk. And now, just with lives, like, now I've learned how to do it. I know how to turn it on, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have no qualms about doing it. So that's why when you and I were having lunch that day and you were like, I'm fearful about it, I was like, okay, Kate, let's do it. Let's go. I was like, I went first. I
Yeah.
got it. And then I got to share that and pass it along.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure those of you that follow Katie know what an absolutely magnificent singer she is. She didn't just go live, she sang live. I mean,
Hmm.
I was blown away. Blown away.
She couldn't get me to dance though, because yeah. And the real reason I didn't want to dance that way that day, I'll tell you now. Because I was full on PMSing and bloated and just like, those moments where we hate our bodies. It was one of those days for me, like, fuck no, I'm not gonna go live dancing.
No, I've never had one of those. I can't relate to
Oh,
what you're talking
never
about at all.
ever, huh?
No, never ever. Like,
Yeah,
no, mm-mm,
yeah.
no. I wish one can fantasize. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Kate. So you know what this means, my love.
What?
We're going dancing.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go dancing. I used to be a
Oh,
Zumba instructor. You want to learn some of my moves?
yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast. One of the things that
Yeah.
I would love to actually do. I went to Agape. I don't know if you're familiar with the Agape. It's a spiritual center. I've been a couple of times now, and one of the women sang, and she her music, the way she was dressed, she let her hair down. Her hair was on top of her head, and she let her hair down. And there was like a drummer, and it was very tribal, and
Mm,
that's in my that's in my blood. I mean, it's in my cells. It's how I grew up, right? Is with
yeah.
that music, and so it's just, and I literally like talk about unleashing the beast. And she had invited those of us that were there, for all of us that were there, if anyone wanted to come, the aisles were available to dance in. And so I was videotaping her, and then I was like, oh, forget this. Turned off my video, just went in the aisle and just unleashed the beast. I mean, it was
Nice.
so much fun. So that's actually
Nice.
one of the things that I've been wanting to do. And so cool. I'm putting that out there now as my intention is really looking into that and finding some kind of tribal dancing, which I love.
I love
Would
it.
you
And
do that with me?
I love the drum music
Yes.
beats. It's like it when I hear it, it speaks to my soul. Like all the
Right?
music, I don't know if you've ever seen Black Panther, um, one of the Marvel superhero movies.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I hope it's Marvel because people will kill me if it's DC. Ah, okay, whatever. All of the music was that the tribal like drums, and I'm just like, oh, I love this so much.
Have you ever done a drum circle?
I have not, but my son recently did a drum show with his class, and it was the whole class in a circle, and it was like the old tribal beats done by a bunch of 6-year-olds. But I know it's not the same. That's the closest I've gotten, a
All
circle
right.
of 6-year-olds playing the drums.
All right. We have some work to do, babes.
Okay.
So I went to you're reminding me, I went to like it's a, mm, I don't know what you would call, not a retreat, but it's a place down in Palm Springs, and they, like a spa. It's called Two Bunch Palms, and they have like all these different classes. And one of the classes was drums, and the woman, like, we each had like a bongo, and we got to do like this drum circle thing, and it was amazing. And so you're reminding me of that. And so I'm like, all right, Kate, we live in the area. Let's do our homework. Let's go do some of this
Yeah.
stuff yeah, soon.
Yeah.
Like with non-matching socks.
Yes. Yeah. And one of my intentions this year is to go have more fun. Not that I don't have fun with myself and with my son, but I need to like go have more fun.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
in. You need a girlfriend? I'm here.
Yep. You want to go sock shopping still?
Yes, I do want to go sock
Okay.
shopping. And if I'm, can I confess?
Sure.
I have not been able to switch socks. And I shouldn't say I haven't been able to. I just haven't. There's something in me that's still resisting that. Like it's that programming of the matching socks being together and the stray socks. And so I'm I'm still resisting. So yes, my love, we need to go sock shopping, and those need to be my socks that I non-match.
Okay. May I offer some guidance?
No,
Okay.
just kidding. Of course you may offer guidance. Thank you for asking. That
I
was
would
good
like
coaching.
I would like to offer take your matching socks that you have and turn one of them inside out. And that'll be your start to mismatch socks.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what the heck we're talking about, it came up in a class that my socks have not matched since the 8th grade.
Show
And
us.
show you,
Yeah.
oh man,
We
it's
need a
like
show and tell.
it's
Let's
such a
see.
tight squeeze right here. Hold on. One,
One.
two.
Woo! We're still in the Christmas spirit.
Oh yeah. So my socks haven't matched since the 8th grade. And then in the group text for this class that I was part of, people started sharing pictures of their mismatched socks. And I'm like, ooh, I started something. And also learning that some people have a hard time not matching their socks. Melanie being one of them, which, no judgment there at all. Um, but just the act of putting on the socks and then going somewhere, especially when I'm not wearing my boots. I mean, for me it's normal now. I have been doing it for so long that I would feel like it's bad luck if they matched. So
Mm,
even when I do have matched socks, I turn one of them inside out.
that's so cool. Yeah, like
Yeah.
honestly, like the discussion that went on in the WhatsApp group, it was literally it was an international class that we were a part
Mhm.
of, and the discussion that went on around these mismatched socks. It's almost like you should do a podcast just reading the comments
Yeah,
of
that's a good idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it was so fascinating to me,
Yeah.
like how like just met like I didn't even hadn't even really thought about it, right? Like how like programmed I am to match my socks. And then how frustrated I would get when a sock would get eaten in the dryer, right? I don't know what happens to socks in the dryer, but socks get eaten in the dryer. And I solved that program by getting a lingerie bag. So all my socks
Mm.
and underwear go into the lingerie bag. And so then the dryer stopped eating my socks. So now I literally like have all my matching socks together. And so when there was this, it was almost like a challenge, I would say. I mean, it wasn't technically a challenge, but everyone started doing it. I think I may have done it once, and then it was like to just even notice and become aware of the discomfort of, well, if I need to pair my socks, like how am I going to put them in the drawer and find what I need? Because even though you're not matching your socks, it's the same socks, but just in different colors is what I've noticed with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you kind of still are matching them. It's just the color though that's different.
Yeah, it's the same. I'll wear them if they're the same thickness because it would be kind of awkward if one was thicker than the other. Or I'll like the other day I wore two green socks. One had Jack Skellington on it and the other one had a face that looked like this. And so I was like, "Look, honey, my socks match today because they were both green." And he
Oh,
goes,
that's just
"That's still, still doesn't count."
which honey, your husband or your son?
My husband.
Okay.
Yeah. My
Oh,
son's
that's
socks don't match either.
his socks don't match either.
No.
Oh
I
my
always joke that he'll rebel someday and wear matching socks.
Oh my God, that would be the rebellion. I love it. So
Yeah,
you
when he's
you
a
mentioned that,
teenager.
that I'm a coach, Kate, but um, really I've been a parent. I mean, I've been a parent educator for 20 years, and I think I am going to with my parents. I think this is something I'm going to consider making, doing as a challenge for them.
The
Or
mismatched
something. I don't
socks?
know. Like, yeah, I think I'm going to bring
Yeah.
it into my class somehow. Is like, the challenge of the unmatching socks, like really, really as a way to really sort of focus on and look at our programming and how because when you say it, like, I'm an intuition coach, right? And so it's like you want to follow your intuition. That's how we find our true purpose in
Hmm.
life. And also like I could go off on a tangent here, but our purpose as parents is to unconditionally love. But first we have to unconditionally love ourselves. And anyway, like for me, the soul is the state of unconditional love, and we're connected to the source of unlimited light. And so when you talk about playing, right, going back to playing or not matching our socks, or like there's a playfulness about it that resonates with my soul. And so much of my programming as an adult is so layered to repress that. And then it also becomes how we parent. But if we can unlayer that as parents for ourselves first, then we get to just do what you did with your son the other night, and just, he wanted to lie with you and you lay with him, and then you made the decision to go lie with him, to actually stay with him, and then you turned off
Mm-hmm.
your alarm. Like, you really were just so present in the moment, and that is what is making parenting so fun for you. Like, you don't, at least that's what I'm hearing. And I know,
Mm-hmm.
just the little bit that you've shared with me, and I'd love to hear more, obviously, but the little bit that you've shared with me is there's this, you don't parent by the rule book, and
No.
you just have a ball with your son because you do that, meaning that you don't parent by the rule book, and you just parent from that playful place inside of you.
Yeah. There's a reason for that too.
Let's hear it.
Well, I used to try to play by the rule book, and all it did was give me so much information from so many different sources, even contradicting information. And was left feeling like I'm a shitty mom. And
Right.
I still have moments where I'll tell myself, "Oh man, you're a horrible mom." And then I snap out of it. But there was this long period of time when I really felt like I was a bad mom because I give him screen time. Um, I do I know. I do things that I'm not supposed to do, like sleep with him in his bed sometimes. I lay down with him
Those
every
people
night.
that are just, I'm actually going to pause you for a second, because for those people that are listening and not watching, I do want to make clear that you used the, what do you call them here? The quotation
Air
mark,
quotes, yeah.
the air quotes. Yeah. When you said, I'm not supposed to,
Yeah.
because that's a recognition. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
no
you. Go ahead.
worries. Um, but one of the messages is that they need to go to sleep by themselves. And I'm thinking, why? Like if he wants his mom, that there eventually will be a time when he doesn't want me there anymore, and that'll be fine. Just like he slept in our bed with us for I want to say till he was 3.5. And then one day he was like, "Mommy, I want to sleep in my own room." I'm like, "Okay." Like they eventually guide themselves out of that phase, if that's what you want to call it. And so hearing the messages mostly on social media, because that's where we scroll, that's not allowed. And then, cry it out. Don't pick them up because then you're enabling them. That's not allowed. Screen time, you have to limit it to half an hour a day. That's funny. Um, and then even questioning when we got a PS5, a PlayStation, and I was like, oh my gosh, you hear all these messages, your kids aren't supposed to play video games all the time and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I played video games a lot when I was a kid and I turned out just fine.
Oh, for those of you that aren't watching, you gotta watch the squinty eyes that we're getting from Katie. Let's see if I can still do that. Ooh, I can. Ooh.
But yeah, so my reason behind the playfulness is that I first of all love to see him smile, and also I took the rule book and I threw it because the rule book comes from outside sources and not from inside of me and my own motherly intuition.
I love it. I love it. I
And
love
that's going to be
it.
a clip.
I love
I'm
it.
going to
I
post
love
it.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And, I am going to, I'm just going to say, like, from my perspective, I do have older kids, right? And so I also was it's not just on social media and the internet, that the rule in the rule books come. I mean, I must have, I don't know how many parenting books I have, honestly, probably 30. I don't know how many I've read. I mean, I have, I read, I studied, followed the rules. And I will say that there are some that are incredibly helpful. There are some things that I do think it's important, at least for me, it has been to recognize that there are things outside of my knowledge and outside of my um, area of expertise, let's say, that, I collect all the information, and there have been certainly way too many times in my life where I would defer my intuition, my intuitive knowing for what I wanted to do to quote unquote the experts. And what I tell the parents in my class now is no one, like I'm standing here as quote unquote the expert, but I'm not the expert of your child. I can teach you some of the rules that will work, that will help, or whatever it is, but I'm not the expert of your child. You are the expert of, no one is the expert of the child like you are the expert of the child, your
Yeah.
child. However, I think sometimes our own programming can actually also get in our own way. So there is a part of that, right? And then the other part of it is like what you're saying about screens. There are things that can can be outside influences that will impact their brains. So, and I'm just going to tell you, like in my case, by the time my son was 15, it was COVID. School had gone online, everything was online. This kid was like he was involved in everything. He was involved in soccer. He was involved in acting. He was diving. He was,
Mm.
I mean, he was very like active and involved, and then COVID came and we got really, really, really isolated, and everything went online. And so I really, really slacked off on the screens. And then it was even hard to know, like, well, if he's doing, is he on school? Is he, he was in his room. He was like, I didn't know exactly what he was doing. And then the
Hmm.
gaming came in, and that was the only way that he could connect with friends. But there's an addictive component to that that actually does impact and change the brain. So just a caveat there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There is a caveat there that I would put in. It's sort of like saying, well, my kid can eat anything they want all day long. And then it's like they do get addicted to sugar, and then they get obese. I mean, I don't know, like what you're saying, like I love what you're saying, and I'm just like proceed with caution.
Right. Yeah. Um, he does watch. I think another reason I'm not so hard on my choices to allow him to watch a lot of YouTube is because he chooses the educational stuff. And I'm pretty sure he has a photographic memory because he will recite a video back to me if he's watched it a few times. Like like Beethoven died and blah blah blah. I'm like, and then I'll look it up and he's right. So, um, and a lot of what he learned during COVID was on YouTube because he
Yeah.
was only two. And
Wow.
so yeah. And I paused because I had a memory come up of the first time he went to a grocery store. I know this isn't related. The first time he went to a grocery store
All related.
after him being home for a year and a half. And he was just like, when we got to the chip aisle, he was like, and we kind of let him put anything he wanted in the cart. And he's like, we need this. And I'm like, I've never seen that before, but okay, we'll get it. And he's like, we need this. And it was just like, I don't know how to explain um his reaction to a grocery store.
Uh,
You know? I know
uh,
that was a little side tangent, but I thought of it. So,
no, I don't think it was for me, it wasn't a side tangent. And what came to me as I was watching you and listening to you describe it is freedom,
mm-hmm.
was a feeling of freedom that he was just experiencing, and you were allowing him to have. And then after we all were locked, like literally, right, like locked up for so long in our houses, and like, fortunate enough to have houses to have been locked up in. Let's just put that out there. But
Yeah.
there was what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing as you're sharing was that feeling of freedom. And I think that's one of the things I'm really loving about what you're sharing about how and who you are as a mother is you are allowing him to be free. You're allowing him to make his choices and you are monitoring. I mean, I think it would be different if your kid was, I don't know, doing like going onto the dark web and choosing
Right.
bad stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's not like a lot of people think of, well, technology is it's either like all good or all bad. And I don't even like to put things in terms of good or bad. It's
Hmm.
really more a matter of, you know, um, it's a tool. It's just a
Yeah.
tool. And I was really personally afraid of technology for so long. And now I absolutely love it. I mean, the fact that we can do this, the fact that we can, reach other people, that other people can tune in, that diversity in my world that it's created. I mean, just so many fabulous things. Anyway, I could go on a tangent on this as well. However, it is that like that intuitively parenting from a place where it's in alignment with what that like. And for you, it's definitely like a soul knowing, a soul feeling. And your kid is, watching YouTube and learning, but he's still like in his drum circle and playing with
Hmm.
friends. Like there's harmony,
Yeah.
you know? There's harmony in what he's doing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Another thing that came to me is that the freedom aspect, and also I'm giving him permission to be himself and become himself because he's still becoming himself without me shutting it down. And all the family members that he is around, nobody ever shuts that down. I was shut down as a kid. Like I was too much and I was not enough and I was all of the above. And so as much as I can, I want him to be himself and discover who he is. And so that when somebody does try to shut him down, he'll just be like, "You're weird." Like, I'm me and you're you. Like, what do you care? You know?
I love, 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 love that, Katie. Are you
Yeah.
coming to our because that's what we're doing a self-esteem in-person workshop next Wednesday at the school that you came to before. It's next Wednesday at 9 a.m. in Brentwood at St. Martin of Tours. Can you come?
I'm gonna write it down.
9 a.m.
9
Not 9:30 or 10
a.m.
like you were told before. It's at 9. So
Um,
you can come.
I'm writing it down now, but I have to look at my schedule. I think I'm pretty sure I remember seeing the announcement for that and then having something in my schedule already, but I'll double check.
Okay. And then the other thing we're
Um,
going to do is we're going to like this year the intention is to do a lot more stuff virtually, so that will be an option. But yeah, because that really like what you're describing is what we're going to be really unpacking in that
mm,
workshop. And I call it reach your dreams or find your like rediscover your purpose in life.
mm,
And it all comes back to us, living in alignment with what it is that we were born to be. And the fact that you are recognizing this so magically with your son so young is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal, my love.
whew.
Yes, give yourself
See,
a
I
pat
am
on
a
the
good
back,
mom.
baby. What?
I said, see, I am a good mom.
Sweetie, you're an amazing mom.
I was really saying that out loud for myself.
I know. I know. And I wanted your ears to hear because you know what? The truth is we're all doing the best we can
Hmm.
with what we know at any given point in time. I mean, I can't even tell you how much I wish I could go back and redo things that I did based on, like I said, what other people told me, things that I read, decisions I made where I wasn't tuned in because of my own programming. And letting that go has been so liberating for me because I really did do the best that I could with what I knew, and I'm still doing the best that I can with what I know now. And I may learn something in, tomorrow or next week or next year or in 5 years, and I'm going to look back on something I'm doing today and be like, oh, I wish I had done that differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving myself grace because I think what makes us quote unquote good moms is that we care.
Yeah.
It's not about the decisions that we're making. Or if we're making they aren't, to me, they aren't right or wrong decisions because we don't really know, but that's the path we pick. And is that the correct path? I don't know. It's an experience for my kid that my kid is on. And my kid is going to also need to learn the lessons that my kid needs to learn because my kid is a soul just like I am. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think really any parent that any parent that cares, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm just want to be like mindful about this. Like if a parent doesn't care, does that make them not a good parent? I don't know. Like to me, like our souls come in choosing the experiences that we need to have. And I think guilt and beating ourselves up because we somehow feel like we're responsible for this other life, we're not. I mean, I don't know what your beliefs are, and I'm not here to impose my belief, right? Like I think of my higher power. People call that, divine source or goddess or God or whatever the name is that we give that source. I call the source God because I believe that source is God, guiding our destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But so the God of my understanding and my belief, like that God doesn't have any grandchildren.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to let that one land, right? So we're all just children and we're all literally just doing what we need to do for our soul's journeys. And we're certainly doing the best we can. And I think when I say the best we can as parents, for those people that come to my classes who really are like looking for the right answer, I truly don't believe anymore that there's necessarily a wrong answer. I
Mm-hmm.
think the important thing is to do what you're describing, which is to really just tune in and really figure out underneath all that noise of what your own program is telling you and what your mother-in-law and your mother and the father, you know what I mean? Like all of these sources are like we have to get below that and then just really connect to that inner knowing and then
Yeah.
trust, just trust ourselves, trust that there's higher guidance, find the sources. Like I have certain people I really respect and admire. So if I want to reason things out with them or talk to or coaches that I speak to ask, what do you think? And then I get all that information and then I make my decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm just in silent awe right now.
Aw, I
Yeah,
love
this
you.
is a good conversation, and I don't know how this my brain keeps wanting to fit this in, and I feel like I talk about this in every episode, but this can go back to the noticing without judging. Um, it fits in everything because we can't change something if we're not aware of it. And even if we are aware of something, it doesn't mean we have to change it. It's just now so you can apply that to parenting. You can apply that to food. You can apply that to exercise. You can apply that to bowling. You can apply that to podcast episoding because I just made that a verb. And yeah, it's been the biggest concept that has changed so much of my life since April. Just notice without judging.
Huge. Was that you dropping the mic?
It's a pen, but
Oh, but like, was that representative of
yes,
drop
yes,
the mic moment?
yeah.
Yeah, because that is, yes. I mean, just so, so, so huge. And really like for me, as you were saying that, what then comes up with that is, when we're aware, we get to choose.
Yes.
We get to choose. And
Mm-hmm.
we may choose to not do anything. Like you said, we may choose to not
Mm-hmm.
change anything, or we may choose to make one small shift.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about, I mean, just for me, I was speaking to a friend who's a nutritionist, and, I don't know, I'm kind of going off on a sort of a segue here based on what you just said. But I've like been playing the yo-yo diet for my whole life since I was a teenager, right? Up,
Mm-hmm.
down, up, down. And I have so many times where I've um, lost weight, which even that concept, just think about the term, right? Losing weight. Or if
Mm-hmm.
when you lose something, you want to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost it, but believe me, I kept refinding it, right? But my mindset was that I'm a big person. And I mean, it's much more like I definitely used weight as a teenager because I was sexually violated. And then that became like my weight and whatever. So
Yeah.
moving forward, though, like what she said, and there's a book apparently, which I have literally 30 books now that are on my shelf. I'm a slow reader and I'm a dyslexic. So probably not going to happen that I'm going to be getting to any of these. I mean, I'm reading whatever. But the book she said is called The Compound Effect. So I'm not even ordering it, but I know that it's there. And when I get through my list, maybe I'll get to it. But what I started doing about 2 weeks ago was she had mentioned an apple a day. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do an apple a day. And I said, well, can it be another fruit? I don't love apples. And then like we had a whole discussion about, well, there's something about something in apples and it's the consistency of apples and the apple a day that keeps the doctor or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do apples. So I went out and I found the apples that I do like this
Mm-hmm.
red apples that I like and they're sweet and I'm doing this whole ritual now and I'm like seeding the seeds of the apple and the whole 9 yards. But just making that one small change, I was in the habit of eating chocolate almost every night. Like my body would crave chocolate every night. And after dinner, I would take like 2 to 3 bites of this chocolate that I love. And that had become like it's been going on for I don't even know how long. And I noticed after a few days of doing the apples that I wasn't taking bites of the chocolate. And I was like, wait, what? What? And so sometimes just that small trajectory when you become, but that awareness and then making that small shift.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it as like train tracks, right? Like if you're on the train track and you're going like this and the train track goes a little bit to the left. No, it doesn't have to be like this huge degree. It doesn't have to be like a 180 or it literally just needs to be like a 2 degree shift or a 5 degree shift, whatever it is. Now you're on a different track. You're going to end up at a different destination.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with those micro awarenesses and then being in choice.
Yeah. Just a side note, you're my seeker. The yo-yo dieter. Um, yeah, and also I love that she's like, okay, apple a day, because so much of what we're used to, we being like our society, is when we want to get healthy, we start taking things away. And I think one of the biggest shifts for me was when I started adding things in rather than taking them away. Like apple, I eat an apple every day too. I love my apples and I usually eat it with a string cheese. Um, but like, and it can be other things like, okay, add in one salad a day, get your greens and your fiber, add in this a day. And usually what happens is by adding the thing, you naturally want to take the other thing away because you're full. Like you don't want the other thing. And then it becomes not, oh, I can't have that. Oh, I don't want it.
Right. It's like to
Yeah.
talk about awareness shift, Kate, like going away from the deprivation model to
Mm-hmm.
the abundance model.
Yeah,
I can have it all, but now I get to choose.
exactly.
I love
I
that.
have a book for you to read.
Oh, good.
I'm
Another
just
one.
kidding.
I'm going to literally take you into my closet after this because I'm too embarrassed to take all the people into my office closet right now. I literally am not joking. My pile is just. But tell me what it is because I'm going to add it to the list.
Okay, it's called Intuitive Eating. by Evelyn Tribole and Elise Reich. They're both registered dietitians. They actually wrote they wrote the book in 1995, and it's just
Wow.
now getting popular because
Ah,
people are tired of the deprivation thing.
oh
So,
my God. I
yeah,
love that. Yes.
that
And so
book changed my life.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And so what my coachings, I'm curious why I'm your seeker, and we may, I don't know if we're going to go offline, but we're going to have, because otherwise this podcast is going to go on for 2 hours because I could speak to you for the rest of the day. But that is one of the things that I'm really, really focusing on, which is the intuitive parenting.
Hmm. Want to swap services?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do it.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do want to talk to you all day, and I have to leave in 5 minutes to get my son from school. Yeah.
Well, a good thing we're friends, so we get to talk
Right?
offline, not on the podcast, and we will be talking many, 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 many times after this podcast episode is over.
Absolutely. No, abso-fucking-lutely.
Absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Um, I do have a question for you, and I end each episode with this question. What? Why can't I speak today?
You can speak today. You are speaking today, and I love that you're doing it in a way that's not perfect because we're all perfectly imperfect. So
Thank
stop
you.
judging yourself, please.
Okay, and you know, I
Because
was gonna
I
edit
don't,
that out. I'm leaving it in.
oh, you are so not editing that out. And I'm just going to say, would you speak to me that way?
No,
Thank you. So don't speak to my friend Katie that way, please.
you got it.
Thank you.
So, Melanie, I do have one more question for you, which I ask everyone at the end of every episode, and that is
Oh,
if
look how
you
articulate you were.
if
Yes, my
you
love.
had if you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be?
Shine your light.
Boom,
Boom.
boom.
Yes. And if I can just add, Kate, if anyone is interested in what I do, I can be reached at Raising Enlightened Children. Um, because I do believe that, part of it is it okay if I add this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, to raise an enlightened child means we sometimes have to raise an enlightened self and re-raise enlightened selves. And to me, that is so much of what this whole episode, this whole podcast has been about. And I've just loved it. So I just want to say thank you for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to uh, for us to just have this awesome conversation. And I love you and thank you.
I love you too. And definitely I have repeat offenders. Alicia's been on the show 3 times, so if you ever want to come back, we can do this for another hour.
Do you see? Do you see? I'm
Mm-hmm.
raising my hand. If anyone can't see and you're
Yeah.
just listening, I have two hands raised. Yes, yes, yes.
Nice. I'll send you my link. I have openings in June. I'm booked until June, so
Okay. Well, we will
yeah.
both be very, very different people then in six
Oh
months
yeah.
from now. So
Oh
let's
yeah.
see what emerges then. That's actually exciting. Let's see what the 6 month future versions of us will have to add and contribute and say. I love it.
Nice. I'll have a different background.
Maybe or maybe not, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. Love you, Angel. Thank you,
Love you
baby.
too. Thank you for your time. This was amazing.
Thank you for yours. And yes, it was. And let's do it again in June.
Heck yeah, I'll send you my link right when I hang up.
Excellent.
Okay.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye, Angel. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Soloway signing off. Until next time.